back to the Why Would I Say That podcast. It's your girl Tiara, and today I want to talk to you guys about splitting because I split again, unfortunately. If you're new here, I struggle with borderline personality disorder, and what that is the instability of moods, behaviors, and relationships. And a lot of people will ask me what splitting is, what I feel like when I split, how do I get splitting stopped, and I'm here to answer those questions for you today because I recently just split. Okay, I'm not perfect. I never made this podcast because I'm healed. I make this podcast to help other people that are healing like me. So sometimes I still mess up, okay? If you don't know whatever this mental health mumbo jumbo means and you're new here, don't know what borderline personality disorder is, don't know what splitting is, that's okay because I'm about to give you an example. If you want to know what it's like being in my brain with BPD and what splitting feels like, listen to this. Imagine you're just sitting here. You're just like, yeah, life is good. Life is great. No, it's not. It's terrible. I can give you a million reasons right now about why life is so terrible. Maybe I should call a friend real quick because my thoughts are getting loud. Your friends hate you. Your friends hate you. Don't call them. Don't call them. Maybe I'll just try that new hobby that I really like doing. You don't like that hobby no more. You don't like it. You did it too much. You did it all the time. You suck at it. You're bad at it. You're terrible. Or, you know what? Maybe I'll just hit up that guy I've been talking to. Like, it's been going so great. Like, I might even be in love with him. Remember when he took 2 minutes to respond? He actually hates you. He doesn't like you. He wouldn't have taken 2 minutes to respond. Don't text him. You hate him. You hate him now. You hate him now. I hate him now. So yeah, that is about 20 seconds into a BPD brain. You see that emotional whiplash, how it goes from everything is good to everything is bad to everything is great to I hate my life. Yeah, that's how BPD and splitting is. So that's an example of splitting. So what splitting actually is thinking in absolutes. It's thinking in black and white thinking or all or nothing thinking. So the examples I just gave, I'm going to talk to this one person that I think I'm in love with because I maybe hung out with them once or twice and now I'm in love with them. You see the all. But they took too long to reply. So now I hate them. Nothing. I go to hyperfixating on a hobby. I love doing that hobby. Then the next day, hate it. I apparently didn't even like it to begin with. All or nothing, black and white thinking. I think about hanging out with my friends because I genuinely do love my friends and I do really care about them. But then I think of one time where maybe they didn't reply because they're a little busy. So then I assume all my friends hate me, nobody likes me, and I'm no longer worthy. Splitting can obviously be very dangerous. It genuinely feels like there's a switch going off on my body when things like this happen to me. And if you have borderline personality disorder like me, this is like a constant. It's a constant loop. You go from, oh, everything's great. Everything's bad. Everything's great. Everything's bad. And it's like emotional whiplash. Splitting is literally emotional whiplash. So I do want to say before I jump into this that splitting is a defense mechanism. It is a coping mechanism and it is there to protect you. Now, does this do this every time? No. This is why this causes problems in life. But there is some times where splitting has saved lives, and it is your brain's way of protecting itself. Like, for example, I was being emotionally abused and neglected, and because I was sitting with so much pain, my brain would split. It would split in order to protect myself. It would think in an absolute in order to protect myself, and that's how my brain kept itself safe. Now, because I never dealt with that, and I never figured out all the underlying issues, because we all know I got diagnosed with BPD just a few years ago and I just found out what splitting was a few years ago. I now carry this on into my life, into my adult life. I now sometimes when I get in small arguments, my brain will be like, oh, it's a threat, split, even if it's a small trigger. So I feel like over time, because I never unlearned this behavior, although it started over something that was very valid, I now carry it on in my life and make it other people's problems. I try not to do that anymore, but we live and we learn, okay? And if you're splitting with BPD, I guarantee you're not making everyone's like life a blessing at the moment. Like, splitting is no fun, and it causes strain in your relationships. It causes strain in yourself. It brings on a lot of shame. It brings on a lot of guilt. But it was originally there to protect you from whatever you were going through. So I don't want you to look at anyone that is splitting as like they're bad, or if you're splitting and look at yourself like I'm bad. I don't want you to look at yourself like that. I want you to know like you were protecting yourself for some time, and it's still there to protect you. But we got to dial it back a bit. We got to dial it back and realize there's a time and a place. And I feel like that's the problem with having BPD, is when you start having these symptoms and you start doing these behaviors, it's hard to tell what the time and place is anymore, because our triggers can be really random. And there's really not much you can do when you're first dealing with these things. When you split, it's like you don't really have a lot of time to like stop it. It's like, I really don't know how to explain it. It's all up in your face and all up in your brain. It's like the only thing that you can think about. It's really hard to explain, but I really feel like it's misunderstood, because splitting isn't always bad. Everyone will split at one time or another. When you see someone freaking out and standing up for what they believe in, that is a form of splitting. They're thinking that one absolute. They're not thinking from the other person's perspective. They're willing to die on the hill that they're on. That is a form of splitting. Basically, splitting is when you have no nuance to the situation. Is just what is. That is the most simple way I can put it. And I feel like it's extremely misunderstood because it is a defense coping mechanism, but it is also a way that you can ruin your life really quickly. And yeah. Personally, I don't split as much as I used to anymore, but sometimes a side of me that I don't like comes out, okay? And a lot of the times now, I realize the times that I split, I really am standing up for myself. I just come off as a lot. And recently, I had this happen to me. I ended up splitting on someone, and it was a newer someone, and I felt really bad, but I will say I was valid. I'm not gonna lie. I think so from my perspective. Okay, but let's get into it. Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this podcast. If you know me, you may know that I have borderline personality disorder, or you might just know me as the emotional girl on your For You page. Either way, it's taking me so long to learn what feelings I'm even feeling, let alone manage them. Therapy, like learning DBT skills, have truly changed my life. DBT, which stands for Dialectical Behavioral Therapy, has given me practical tools like mindfulness, distress tolerance, and emotional regulation. Those skills have gotten me from being completely controlled to my emotions to actually learning how to manage them. And that's the reason I'm able to understand my emotions, put them into words, and then share them with you. I know how scary that feeling can be to take that first step, especially when you're dealing with emotional chaos. It may seem easier to just push it down or to figure it out alone, but you don't have to. Having a professional in your corner can make all the difference. If this sounds like you, I have been sponsored by BetterHelp to give you 10% off your first month. Use my code betterhelp.com/TiaraLorraine for 10% off your first month. BetterHelp is accessible to anyone, anytime, anywhere, making help more accessible than ever. Whether you prefer phone calls, text messages, video chats, all options are available so you can get the help that works best for you. Again, that's betterhelp.com/TiaraLorraine for 10% off your first month. Now, back to the episode. So the other day, me and my friend decided to go meet this guy I was talking to at the bar he works at. And I was like, yay, like I get to go see my mans. That's not my mans. My mans is not my mans. Okay, so I went to go to the bar. I went to go hang out with this guy. And like, we hung out. I met all his friends, including the girlfriends. And I had no issue. I was not jealous over it. They were your friends before we're dating or talking or whatever. No, I'm not dating anybody. We're talking. I don't know what this is. But I was like, they're friends before we started talking. I don't really care. They've known each other for years. Well, I realized when we go in the bar that she's the only one that follows him. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Again, they've been friends for however. I don't know the dynamics. I'm new here. I'm the new one. I'm the weirdo. This is not my friend group. But the first thing I realized is that girl following him in there. And then she's grabbing on his arm and like doing all these things. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, oh no, baby. Like, first of all, I'm sorry, that's like, at least for me, I'm not very possessive and stuff, but like to have a girl grabbing on your man at the bar, like, is low-key embarrassing. At least in my, like, I'm not going to judge anyone in their relationship. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. I personally think it's embarrassing. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to sit on this thought. I'm not going to flip out. I'm not going to bring it up because we just started talking. So like the rest of the night goes on. Everything's going well. Even my friend was saying that guy was all over me all night and like to just don't stress this girl. And I was like, okay, like I'm not stressing her, whatever. But then like we go to leave and me and this guy have kissed before. But he doesn't kiss me goodbye. Like I live a little bit away, so like I have to drive home. Like I had to stay sober, so I ended up leaving early. But he doesn't like kiss me goodbye. And by this point, my friend was there. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like maybe we're just like still being awkward. So like I just get in my car and I'm about to leave. But I was calling my friend that was with me at the bar to like debrief. Like at the same time I'm pulling out. And I like went to pull out, but I like turned because I'm pulling out. You know, I like go to look behind me and he's sitting there play fighting this girl. And I like, and like 3 seconds go by and they're like doing pinkies, kissing each other's thumbs and like doing this, which is fine. But like, I'm supposed to be the girl you're talking to and you're not even kissing me, but you're kissing that girl's hand at the bar. Absolutely not weird. I'm cutting you off right now. And like, I literally just split. Like I literally was split. Well, now at this point, the guy that I'm talking to thinks that I'm slowing down because I need help backing out. No, I'm slowing down because I'm in disbelief. Why are you kissing that girl's hand? Okay, maybe I am crazy. I don't know. It was just like weird. Like if you were there, you would understand what I'm going through because my friend even said it was really weird. But like he thinks that I need help backing out. So he starts instructing me to back out. So then I like roll down my window and I was like, I don't need your help. And he's like looked at me all weird because I've never been mean to him before. And I was like, you're being weird. Like go. He was like, what are you talking about? I was like, you're just weird. And like I like kept like I like tried to dial back a little bit, but I couldn't even articulate why I was upset because all I could think was like in red. I can only think of like, I'm cutting you off. I hate you. You're embarrassing me. Like I could only think of like bad thoughts. I couldn't even think there may be nuance to the situation. Like they've been friends forever. Why am I being crazy? But I still think I'm justified because my man would never. Anyway, I just keep calling him weird. And he was like, Tiara, like, what did I do? What did I do? I was like, I just think it's funny how you're kissing on your friend, but you couldn't even kiss me bye. And we're talking. Like, that's just so embarrassing. And I just want to go home. And he was just like, no, like, please listen. It's not like that. I said, no, I'm not willing to listen. Let me go home. And like, he moved from my car. He respected the boundary and let me go home. And he was super nice and respectful about it after. But first of all, I'm not about to let you play in my face. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not going to sit here and reenact the entire thing to a T. But I wasn't very nice about it at all. And I couldn't articulate or think of anything other than he's doing bad. He's playing in my face. He's going to be a cheater. I'm not playing with these lies in these games again. And like, I really only thought in one light. Like, again, my brain was protecting itself. If you saw, like, heard what was happening, like, those are just my boundaries. I don't like that. But at the same time, like, it's still early on. I came off really strong. And I kind of feel bad because that is his friend and I don't want to come off as the crazy girl. But my friend was on the phone with me the entire time. I was, like, yelling at him, like, calling him weird and stuff like that. And my friend, like, even said like I was valid. I just came off really strong. And I was like, I know my brain just be trying to protect me and I don't know what to do. And I just really wish I didn't call it out in front of his friends because then I feel like they're talking about me. Like the sense of urgency when I feel something is crazy. That is a good way to explain it. When I'm splitting, I have like a sense of urgency to get it out. Like it is an urgent matter. It doesn't matter how minor the situation was for me to split. It's urgent, okay? I'm splitting and I need to tell you right now. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're at work. I'm walking in. I'm splitting. I'm just kidding. Maybe. But when I split, it just feels like it's urgent. It's like I just have to, like, it's like word vomit coming out of my mouth. It's like my brain is thinking the thoughts and they're just falling out of my mouth with no thoughts. And they're usually not great thoughts and they're mean and not great. But after I pulled off and I went to go home, I was still on the phone with my friend. And that's when the guilt started to set in. When you split, after you split, there's a lot of guilt and shame with that. Like you feel embarrassed, you feel guilty, you feel like you came off too strong. Everything I just said, like that's how it literally feels. I feel like I came off too strong. I feel guilty and I feel ashamed. I feel like I could have handled that better. I could have talked about it better instead of calling him names. I could have, I don't know, had a conversation with him about it rather than attacking him. Because when I did talk to him about it, he respected my boundaries a lot. He said he would never happen again. He gets one chance. That was his one chance. And he just dealt with it so good. And I've never really had a response so respectful before. So like that made me feel so much more shameful because like, I mean, you were so nice and you were so respectful about it. And here I am calling you names and being rude. I will say this, all feelings are valid. It's just your reaction to those feelings may not be valid. So just because I was feeling like these big emotions and everything, I don't think it was necessarily fair to him for me to call him those names and make him feel bad. I kind of feel like when you split, I don't think it's an intentional thing that you're doing, but I want to be real. I feel like you're trying to put the person that you're splitting on in your shoes and you're trying to show them how you feel. So therefore, when you are splitting, you're now projecting your own monologue onto them in order to get them to be where you are and in your mindset. And that's not healthy at all. I don't like saying things so straightforward, but if I'm looking at splitting in an objective standpoint, I feel like that's kind of how I look at it and how I think about it after I split. Because a lot of times after I split, I say, like, I just wanted you to know how I felt. I wanted you to know where I was coming from, and I didn't know how else to do it. And it sucks that my brain will sometimes take people down because I'm feeling down. Just because I feel hurt doesn't mean that I should hurt people, you know? Like, this can get, like, really not great. And I'm able to manage this a lot better than I used to. And I'm able to point out what I'm feeling when I'm going through these things. But sometimes the split does happen a little too quick. So I want to share with you some of the things that I feel when I'm splitting to maybe help you maybe catch your next split. Because a lot of times I can catch it. I can put a pause in between my feeling and me splitting. And sometimes that pause is all it takes to stop a split completely and for you to be able to think about the nuance of a situation. A lot of times if I'm splitting, I get butterflies in my chest and I get them in my heart and I get them in my stomach. I literally feel like there's just the family herd of butterflies all up in my, what's this called? My diaphragm. I feel like there's a bunch of butterflies in my diaphragm. Like it literally feels like I'm nervous and gonna throw up, but I usually channel that into my anger, my sadness, or whatever that is, and then turns into a split. Another thing that I realize when I'm splitting is my body temperature changes. I either get like cold sweats or I get really, 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 really hot. And I can tell like, oh girl, you feel something really big. Why is your body temperature changing? You might want to dial it back a bit. Another thing that if the split is really bad and I'm actually in like a threatening situation, which I've realized because this doesn't happen to me very often, my hands and feet go numb. Like I get tingly sensations in my hands and feet. I don't know if anyone else gets like that, but if I'm actually in a threatening situation, my hands and feet go numb and then I split. Usually if my hands and feet go numb, I'm splitting because I probably am at threat. Because the only times it's ever happened is I was literally at like physical threat. Also, when I'm splitting, the thoughts are like rapid. It's like there's so many thoughts I need to get out and they're going to come out, but they're all going to come out at once and wrong. So like if you are thinking relatively the same thoughts in different ways and like in a loop and like you need to get it out, it may be a sign you're about to split. Those are some of the things that come off the top of my head, what I physically feel when I'm splitting. And if you have any of those that you want to leave down below, comment them down below. You never know what self-awareness can help somebody put a stop to these behaviors or just put a pause in these behaviors or just slow these behaviors down. But those are some of the things that I feel when I'm splitting. And if I can recognize that I'm physically feeling these things, I try to be like, all right, Tira, pause. Because you're only going to think in absolute. You're not going to think in nuance. Don't say much. Wait and come back. Easier said than done. But when you can recognize some of the things you feel before you split, you can stop the split or at least slow it down and maybe able to come back to a point where you can think in more perspective than just your own. Because really when you're splitting, all you are is thinking from your perspective and how you feel. So if you can recognize what symptoms you have before you split, you may be able to pause. It's not going to be comfy. I'm not sitting here saying that, oh, once you put a pause in it, you're not going to want to split. No, it's actually going to feel worse. The fact that you're not getting it out, that you're not freaking out, that you're not exploding. Because when I first started putting a pause in this, I felt like I wasn't standing up for myself. I thought I was letting myself down. It just feels like worse. And it's like a weird thing to feel when you don't act on it. So the feelings are still just as big, but when you learn what you feel before you split and put a pause in it, you start to look for other ways to get it out of your body rather than splitting. So when I feel really big emotions, I can put a pause in it. My brain starts to search for ways to alleviate that feeling. And if I don't give it the option to freak out or don't give it the option to relay information at that time, my brain will try to seek another outlet. Now, we try to stay in all healthy outlets, okay? I'm not saying to run to any outlet. Try to stay on path here. But once you put a pause in it, your brain will start being like, what the frick? Where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? But you will eventually be led in the right direction. Sometimes a pause can just change your life. Sometimes you don't need an answer of exactly what to do, but just pausing and slowing down can help you and your relationships, just everything around you. Splitting is absolutely one of the hardest parts to navigate while having borderline personality disorder, at least for me. Because when I'm splitting, I don't know if I'm standing up for myself. I don't know if I'm in the wrong. I don't know if I'm being crazy. I just don't know, because splitting is a defense coping mechanism. So when I go all in on something I believe, I don't know if I'm just going all in because I'm passionate or if I'm going all in because I'm splitting. And it's really, really confusing. And I just want you to know that you are not alone. I did split again, and I probably will again. It's life. I'm learning. I'm healing. I'm not excusing the behavior. I'm looking at the behavior. I'm reflecting on it so I can be better for next time. Splitting does not always mean that you are bad, that you're broken, or something's wrong with you. We all split. It doesn't matter if you deal with mental health or you don't deal with mental health. I don't care if you say you don't split. You have split at one time or another. If you ever thought in an absolute and only thought in one perspective, even if it's just for a tiny period of time, that is a form of splitting. And I just want you to know that you are not alone. And it can be really hard when you're dealing with this a lot. But it is possible to be able to navigate it and manage it better. Because Lord knows I would not be here if I didn't learn how to navigate and manage it better. But again, I'm not perfect. I literally split like 3 days ago. Okay? On somebody brand new. Scared him away, probably. Ugh. Oh, well, I guess. I don't know. No, he was really nice, really respectful and everything. Like, I don't know. I got really lucky, I guess. But I always like to remind you that I'm going through this with you in real time. I always like to say I can't take advice from someone that isn't actively going through it as well. And I'm here to tell you that I am here going through it with you. You are not alone. Splitting sucks, but I just wanted to share some things that have helped me, some of the things that I'm currently going through, and some of the things that I feel, because it's icky and no one deserves to feel alone. Because when I was doing all this and I didn't have a name for it and I didn't have a community for this, I thought I was insane. I thought that was too much. That I thought, I just thought so many negative things about myself, and I don't know. Now I don't think about it so negatively. Sometimes I do gotta dial it back a little bit, but we're human. There's gonna be times where you just gotta tell yourself to dial it back, and we're learning, and it's okay. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I just want to let you know that you're not alone. I go through this too, and we're managing, we're learning, even if we slip up every now and then. We're doing it. So I want you to know, even if you have a little slip up and a mess up, don't beat yourself up. Happens. That's life. We're not going to be perfect. And if you're perfect, give us the answers. Give us the answers. Please. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so you're not missing an episode every single Friday. And if you're listening on podcast, make sure to leave me a 5-star review, what you like about this podcast, what you don't like about this podcast, so I can critique. But if I don't need to critique, then I guess we're just talking about what we're still talking about. But leave me a review. It would really, really help me out and help me find the people that are trying to find me. So please. Oh, also, before I hop off here, this is not set in stone yet. It's just an idea. I want to get ahead of the game just in case if I do decide to do this. Your girl is going on 2 vacations in September. And I do all this podcasting, this editing, the posting on my TikToks, the replying to all the things all by myself. And I genuinely think in the months of September, I might take a break to just relax, think about the things that I want to do for this podcast, think about new ideas, more fun ideas, because I feel like sometimes I'm coming on here and just being complainy. And I also sometimes feel like I'm rushing my content, and I don't want to do either of those two things during the month of September just because I'm so busy. And I feel like if I tell you guys how much I'm dealing with, you guys will be really understanding. I just feel like the break is very much needed. I work on top of doing my podcast and my TikToks and my YouTube and my Instagram and my Facebook and the other opportunities that I have going on. So I think that it would be super beneficial for me to take a break, because I've never really talked about this, but I've never taken a day off of social media, and I feel like it's probably not doing me any justice. Like, I love being here and I love the community, hence why I've never taken a break. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if I don't take a break, I'm going to burn out, and we don't need that. So if that happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I will keep you guys updated. I just wanted to give you a warning just so you guys know, and it isn't like a last minute thing. That way, maybe if you want to save like an episode or two before I go on my vacations, you can. And that way you can listen to me. I just want to throw that out there just so you guys knew. I don't want you to ever leave you guys hanging, because you guys have never left me hanging. So yeah, but I think my brain is kind of hurting a little bit. So, and I want to be honest about that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting me. I love you guys more than anything in the world. And until next week.